आंसर वी वुड लाइक टू बिलीव इज बिकॉज बाथरूम में सेल्फीज काफ़ी अच्छी आती है, मिरर काफ़ी अच्छा होता है, लाइटिंग काफ़ी अच्छा होता है. बट द ट्रूथ इज वी जस्ट गो टुगेदर बिकॉज इट जस्ट फील्स सेफ. इट्स नॉट लाइक आवर ब्लैडर्स आर अलाइंड एंड हम सबको एक साथ ही लाइक एक को वॉशरूम यूज़ करना है तो बाकी सबका भी ब्लैडर इज लाइक ओ येस लेट्स गो. ऐसा नहीं होता. इट्स नॉट दैट्स नॉट द रीज़न. So the key to this question is definitely in the way the question is asked. अगर कोई आपको टेबल पे ऐसे बोल रहा है कि मैं बाथरूम जा रही हूँ, किसी को चलना है क्या, सो बाई डिफ़ॉल्ट एक या दो लड़की डेफिनेटली उठ के चली जाएगी बिकॉज इन आर माइंड वी आर रियलाइजिंग कि दिस इज़ कमिंग फ्रॉम अ प्लेस ऑफ इनसिक्योरिटी एंड फियर. एंड सो यू नो इवन इफ आई डोंट वांट टू यूज़ द वॉशरूम आई एम स्टिल गोइंग टू गो. नॉर्मली पब्लिक प्लेसेस में यू विल सी दैट ये होता है लाइक मॉल्स और थिएटर्स और रेस्टोरेंट्स एंड पब्स एंड और इवन ऑफिसेस. लाइक यू विल सी कि एक जा रहा है तो और तीन उसके पीछे पीछे जा रहा है. इज़ only because women in general they feel unsafe in public places because they would have been subjected to some form of eve teasing, harassment, the eye gaze, ogling and all of it. So we just feel insecure, we just feel scared, and having our girls with us, it just gives us a sense of security and you know wo fear chali jati and you just feel comfortable in a public place. Not necessarily that we want to use the washroom, we'll just go there, maybe we'll just check how we are looking, अपना बाल थोड़ा ठीक कर लेंगे और maybe just a makeup touch up or maybe just take a selfie or two. On the other hand, अगर कोई ऐसे बोल रहा है कि यार मैं बाथरूम जा रही हूँ, which is not really a question, it is just a statement कि I'm going to use the washroom, so in that case not everybody will join her, only that person would join जिसको अगर सच में वॉशरूम यूज़ करना है. So like I said, the key to what it really means is based on the question, how the question is asked, and उसके basis पे बाकी सारी जो लड़कियाँ होती है, बाकी सारी जो औरतें होती है, they react, and we're just there for our girlies.
Even right now, like the time I'm walking, there might be some or the other person staring at me, and like there's no specific reason they'll stare at me. They'll stare at me for no reason. So मेरे को ना टू बी ऑनेस्ट शुरुआत में बहुत लगता था कि लोग ऐसे देख रहे हैं, एम आई वेयरिंग समथिंग रॉन्ग या एम आई लुकिंग फ़नी, या फिर क्या मतलब मेरी शक्ल अजीब हो रही है, कुछ हो रहा है मेरे साथ अजीब सा. बट ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम आई रियलाइज्ड कि लड़के होते ही ऐसे हैं. मतलब उन लोगों को ना ऑड भी नहीं लगता. तो मैंने मतलब इतने के बाद आई रियलाइज्ड कि जब उनको ऑड नहीं लग रहा तो मुझे क्यों ऑड लगे. तो अब जैसे अगर कोई मुझे घूरता है ना, स्पेसिफिकली कोई बंदा मुझे घूरता है ना, तो मैं उससे उल्टा घूर देती हूँ. तो आई मीन भाई तू घूर रहा है, मुझे ला घूर, आजा साथ में मिलके घूरते हैं, मैं भी घूरूंगी तुझे, आँख में आँख मिला के घूरूंगी. तो आई नो दिस इज़ फनी बट या दिस इज़ हाउ आई डील विद अ मेल स्टेयर.
So, short answer is that timing. I mean, I would say it is the first step before you actually make your friend, or maybe you date or you get into a relationship with your partner. But yes, it might sound a bit controversial. Someone might say कि अरे नहीं, we are destined to be together, ऐसे थोड़ी होता है. All of that may be true, but just imagine अगर आप उस पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम पर, उस माइंडसेट पे आप उस सामने पर्सन से इंटरेक्ट ही नहीं कर पाते, तो इट्स क्वाइट पॉसिबल कि शायद वो चीज़ें होती नहीं जैसा अभी है. तो येस, टाइमिंग प्लेज अ बिग रोल, बट आई थिंक इट्स द फर्स्ट स्टेप बिफोर एनीथिंग हैपन्स. सो इट्स मोर लाइक अ फर्स्ट स्टेप. अगर वो ही नहीं होगा तो आगे कैसे होगा. सो या.
Now, honestly, I don't think so there's any thin line when it comes to a good guy or a boring guy. The only difference is a good guy and a bad guy, and it is as simple as it. But two things that can be. You could either be a boring guy and you could either be an interesting guy. Interesting guy और boring guy के बीच में difference और the thin line बस वही है कि interesting guy would have a lot of interesting things to talk about, would have opinions, would have different views, would have hobbies. Jabki a boring guy, be it a good or a bad guy, a boring guy would be somebody who does not have opinions, who does not have much to add on to a conversation, or add on to anyone's life, is shy, prefers not to talk to anyone, do not hold an ability to hold a conversation, and just lives a mundane, boring life. Jahan he is not interested in making any effort to make life interesting in any way.
So for me, a meaningful life looks like where I don't have to shrink myself to let others have their space. I can be myself in all my abundance, take up as much space as I want, and still not make people in my life uncomfortable, especially my husband or people around. So I think that will be a meaningful life for me. I mean, if we all talk about money, we all talk about having a career, having travel and things around that, but for a woman, for most women, I think it is when you don't have to shrink yourself to adjust into somebody's life, or to be of somebody's appetite. So I think that that really matters for women, even if they probably have not realized it by now. So let's.
So the question was, will you be able to travel alone? Yes, I will. I have. And I would recommend solo traveling to every human being on this planet. I mean, it's not just because the world is so big, huge, beautiful, amazing, magical, uh, but also because it will just make you realize how capable you have been all along, and how capable and strong you are, and you could be. When you travel alone, you are your own responsibility, your own decision maker. You are not just somebody's daughter, wife, partner. There are no relationship tags. You're just you, and you decide for yourself. You decide what time do you want to wake up, what do you want to eat, whether you want to go right or left, whether you want to go, whether you want to just walk around or take a cab or just drive around. It is all out of choice and not out of fear. And I recommend solo traveling to every human being. Solo traveling has helped me like nothing else has so far. And I keep saying it's food to my soul. So I would definitely be team solo traveling.
story 2014 में आई वॉज मूविंग फ्रॉम माई होम टाउन टू डेली एंड मेरे साथ मेरी मॉम आई थी मुझे ड्रॉप करने के लिए लीविंग फ्रॉम सूरत इंस्टेड ऑफ मी क्राइंग क्योंकि मैं अपना घर छोड़ के जा रही हूँ एंड एनीथिंग मेरी मॉम फूट फूट के रो रही थी एंड व्हेन आई आस्क्ड हर व्हाई शी सेड कि पहली बार ऐसा हो रहा है कि शी इज़ ट्रैवलिंग टू अ डिफरेंट प्लेस लाइक डिफरेंट सिटी ऑल टुगेदर एंड वो पहली बार ऐसा कर रही है जहाँ पे मेरे पापा साथ में नहीं है एंड शी वॉज जस्ट स्केर्ड एंड शी वॉज जस्ट सो फेयरफुल एंड she just doubted herself. उसे लगा कि she won't be able to do it. Trust me, in this trip, although I was there with my mom, but she had to go back akele and she had to travel within Delhi. She had to spend a day within Delhi apne se, and if you ask my mom, she'll say that that was one of the best moments in her life because she enjoyed it and she felt so much more confident and so much more capable and she started believing in herself. सो येस औरतें ट्रैवल कर सकते हैं अकेले ओनली इफ़ औरतें खुद अपने आप पे भरोसा रखें एंड आदमी उन्हें डाउट ना करे.
So I think I would say majorly most of them every time on everything, because you know, as women we grow up and we receive mixed signals from the society as to how we behave, how we whether we should be confident, we should not be confident, we are either we are too ambitious or we are not at all ambitious, either we are too soft, we are not too soft, we are so rude. So it's all sort of things, and that makes us second guess all decisions, our opinions, our tones, our dressing, and everything. So I would say, and I mean, on a daily basis, life gets so difficult because we are just choosing between this or that all the time.
Honestly, yes. It is because there is a lot of self doubt, there's a lot of fear of failure, there's a lot of stereotypes जो औरतों का जो औरतों के अगेंस्ट आ जाता है when it comes to workplace. So we as female, we always feel like we are being monitored, we are being viewed with a very fine tune comb, like through a magnifying lens, and हमारी छोटी सी छोटी mistake can end up feeling that this person doesn't is not really a hard worker or is not really a great employee. We also feel we are harshly scrutinized for our mistakes. We cannot also deny that there are also men who think that women are not capable. They feel that females are emotional and they do not have that वो जिगरा नहीं है जहाँ they can make those harsh decisions, and they cannot be ruthless. ऑल्सो इफ़ दे आर रूथलेस तो उनको वो भी बोला जाता है अरे कैसी औरत है, तो मतलब वो एक अलग ही चक्रव्यूह में पड़ जाते हैं. बट देन देर आर पीपल हु एक्चुअली फील लाइक there are men who openly tell that women are not good leaders because they cannot make these harsh decisions and they're very emotional. And so वो सारी चीज़ें काफ़ी इकट्ठा, like I said, there are preconceived notions, there are beliefs, and that makes it over the top complicated for females, where they end up overcompensating things. You also have things like DEI. You might think these are their rights, and this would empower them, but a lot of times females feel, or they are made to feel, that they are in a position of power, or they are in that leadership position, or they have gotten a job or a promotion as compared to others, is because as an organization they need to meet that DI criteria. And so उस हिसाब से भी it becomes very complicated, because then sometimes you very evidently know कि आप एक position पे हो is not because you deserve, but it's just because it's a policy that the organization needs to meet. And people around you will not fail to make you remind that over and over again, let alone आप अपने आप को खुद वो रिमाइंड कर ही रहे हो. So all of it combined, everything, yes, women do overcompensate, they do overwork, they feel like they need to do extra to prove themselves, and policies also make it very difficult for them.
Absolutely. Primarily, the reason why I want to keep a job, have always been encouraged to keep a job by my husband. I work, I'm very competitive, I earn well, and I want to earn more so that I can take care of my family's needs. And not only needs, and why are we only thinking about taking care of the family if something happens to the guy? I can take care of the family, I can take care of things, I can pamper my guy, I can as in guys, and I'm married for a while now, so pamper my husband, take him on a vacation, give him good gifts. And I work for that. I mean, of course I work because I also have studied a lot and I want to put that to use, and I like working, I like the independence, I like the money. But yes, I would definitely spend on my family, because I want to do that. Not only my husband, my daughter as well. And yes, we do split up expenses, and we don't have to wait for somebody to fall sick. We can do that even when everything is hale and hearty, and when one person's expenses cannot completely fill up your plate, or let you live your life as you would like to. So I think it's important sometimes for both partners to work. Again, each to themselves. There might be different situations for different people, but nonetheless, I'm okay to contribute. Not okay, I'm willing, more than willing to contribute.
Women mostly believe in equality at heart, equal opportunity, equal respect, equal voice. That part really isn't up for debate. But equality doesn't always feel fair if our experiences aren't the same. That's where equity comes in, and it's not us asking special treatment, it's about asking to be understood. For example, unless the maker decides to change his making, men will never be able to experience pregnancy. And so that's when when we discuss maternity leave, it's honestly not a privilege, it's a balance, it's a support that every woman who's been through that experience needs, absolutely needs. Then there are other things like safety considerations, emotional and invisible responsibilities that feel heavier on us compared to you. and at the same time pretending those differences don't exist in the name of treating everyone the same can miss the point. So at the end of the day, we mostly want equal value, equal voice, with equitable understanding that the difference exists. So, and also it's less about choosing equality or equity. It's about saying, see the full picture. That's what most of us are really asking for.
Vulnerability is attractive because when it comes to men, हमें ऐसा लगता है कि आदमी इतना ज़्यादा ओपन अप नहीं करते, आदमी do not show their weaker side to women. So अगर कोई, if a guy in my life is showing his vulnerability to me, I would feel that he is doing that just because he trusts me, you know. Somebody feels that they can trust me, somebody feels that they they are just emotionally connecting to a level where they feel like they can be their true self and they can show their weaknesses and not feel judged, or they don't feel like they have to put up this mask ki I'm a strong man and I have my feelings under control, or I don't have anything in my life that is problematic. So yes, vulnerability is attractive, but only if it is only if it comes from a positive place. And when I say that, it is key vulnerability should not turn into a trauma dumping jahan pe you just want somebody to listen to you. You don't want somebody to form a codependency with you jahan pe they are just finding you as an outlet jahan pe wo apni sari vulnerability aapko aake bata rahe hain, and they are you know uh, they are excusing all negative behavior or bad behavior or inconsiderate behavior on that vulnerability that they have. So it should not be codependent. The vulnerability should not become a codependency jahan pe kahin na kahin they want you in their life is just because they can be their true self, and not work on it and just make this as a trauma dumping space, or make this just as a space जहाँ पे वो vent out कर रहे हैं, they're not really making an effort to work on their shortcomings if they need any form of working out, you know. So yes, vulnerability coming from a place where individual also works on their own mental well-being and has emotional intelligence is definitely attractive.
Honestly, it's not a poetic or an abstract thing, it's a very practical ask. When we say we want emotional availability, it basically means emotional safety. And not just for us, we want you to feel equally safe, to express your feelings openly, uh, to handle difficult conversations without shutting us down or shutting yourself down. It's staying present when emotions get a little overwhelming or uncomfortable. It's us being heard without being called dramatic, or you reassuring us without having us to beg. It's a lot of times it's consistency, it's softness, um, uh, it's accountability, it's presence. At the end of the day, I think we just don't want to feel like we are too much for having emotions. We want to feel safe enough to be fully ourselves.
On a personal level, I would prefer a more hybrid approach, जिसमें आप और अपने पार्टनर के साथ ज़्यादा टाइम स्पेंड कर रहे हैं, एंड एट द सेम टाइम यू आर मेकिंग श्योर वेन एवर यू गेट टाइम आप अपने पेरेंट्स, बोथ साइड ऑफ द पेरेंट्स के साथ भी मिल रहे हैं, बिकॉज सी you are a team. Since once you get married, you're a team, and it's not just one side of the parents that are more important than the other. ठीक है, it's a partnership, दोनों ने मिलके शादी की है, तो both side of the parents are equally important, and more than anything it's the two of you who should spend more time together, चाहे love marriage हो, arrange हो, आप you don't know the other person as a husband, तो वो टाइम कभी स्पेंड नहीं हुआ है, and it's very important that you do that as much as possible, because once you have kids things do get changed. So जब तक टाइम है बिल्कुल करो, बाद में भी करोगे, but yes,
prioritize spending more quality time as a couple, and then share spending time with families on festivals, and whenever you get time.
See, living with your parents, especially your husband's parents, sometimes also means not having that adequate space where you can be yourself. Sometimes it's tougher for the woman if she's living with her in laws. But then again, it completely depends on what mentality people have and follow. Having kids, yes, you need a complete village to raise kids, but that village should be something which supports you and not something which is always in conflict with you. So, your parents or mine, if we need support, then that support has to be not completely on our conditions, but yes, that support should be mutual. That support should feel like a support. And if it feels like a support, then why not? But I feel I, for one, would like to raise kids mostly on my own because I cannot expect to have everybody to have the same set of values. I'm trying to break free from some of the value system with which I was raised, and not all of it, but some of it. I'm trying to break some patterns here, trying to raise my daughter as I would want to see girls being raised, and that takes a lot of courage, breaking out from the mold, being trying and being different. So for me, while I do need some support, but I would rather do the raising mostly by myself.
Honestly, conflict resolution, dealing with conflict, everybody has their own ways. बहुत लोगों को realize होता है कि when they are angry or when they're disappointed, they tend to speak things that they don't, I mean, that they're going to regret बाद में. So बहुतों का होता है कि they walk away from that conversation, they deal with their emotions, they work out what is it जो exactly उन्हें impact कर रहा है, and then they go and have an honest conversation. So a lot of individuals do that. This is not just females, but there's one common thing जो औरतें हमेशा करती है is we as women, we over explain a lot. So on a personal level, if you're conflicting with somebody, be it your partner, be it your lover, or be your family members, females tend to over explain things a lot. एंड क्या हो जाता है कि जब आप चीज़ें ओवर एक्सप्लेन करते हैं तो इट एंड्स अप बिकमिंग लेस ऑफ अ कॉन्फ्लिक्ट रेजोल्यूशन, बट इट बिकम्स मोर ऑफ अ एजेंडा बेस्ड लेक्चरिंग. सो सामने वाले को ऐसा लगता है कि आप बस उन्हें लेक्चर दिए जा रहे हो बिकॉज आपको बस आपका पर्सपेक्टिव सुनाना है. आप इतना एक्सप्लेन करने की कोशिश कर रहे हो कि सामने वाला इंसान एग्जैक्टली समझे 100/100 कि आप क्या बोलने की कोशिश कर रहे हो. ईच वर्ड नीड्स टू लैंड एग्जैक्टली वॉट यूर in a way that you're trying to explain. Each word needs to be understood in that way, and you want कि सामने वाला इंसान भी exactly उसी emotions को feel करे जो आप feel कर रहे थे उस time पे. एंड सो जब तक वो इंसान आपको वो क्लैरिटी नहीं मिलती है दैट पर्सन इज एग्जैक्टली फीलिंग व्हाट यू आर फीलिंग, यू कीप ऑन एक्सप्लेनिंग योर पर्सपेक्टिव, कीप ऑन डूइंग इट. सो आपका सामने वाले का पर्सपेक्टिव वॉश आउट हो जाता है, एंड दिस बिकम्स वेरी मच लाइक मोर लाइक यू आर ट्राइंग टू जस्टिफाई योर एक्शन और योर एंगर रादर देन जस्ट क्लैरिफाइंग व्हाट यू आर फीलिंग. सो दैट इज समथिंग दैट आई फील औरतों की आदत होती है, एंड फीमेल टेंड टू डू दैट अ लॉट, दैट वी ओवर एक्सप्लेन rather than just expressing why we are feeling what we are feeling. And yeah,
I feel it really depends on the dynamic of the relationship and the two people who are in that relationship together. For example, a partner who would look at it as a sacrifice largely would be a part of what I would presume to be an unequal relationship, because it will be a sacrifice when it originates, the expectation originates from outside. For example, if there are cultural expectations, or if there is pressure from family, from the husband, to do so. And also with this whole ingrained idea that relationship is sort of a once in a lifetime partnership, This could actually lead to a partner, or say in this question, a woman, to look at it as kind of a sacrifice. And it is, in fact, a sacrifice in that regard. And one way how this plays out, I feel, in the future is through resentment, because at any point when anyone feels that they are pushed to sacrifice something, and something they really liked or look forward to, it does build a lot of resentment. Of course, I'm sure we have heard a lot of stories growing up where unequal partnerships have eventually led to emotional and economic expectations, and further led to resentment, right? The second dynamic where I would not look at it as a sacrifice would be if there is if there is an equal relationship where both the partners are very supportive of one another. There could be periods where one partner has given up something for the other person, and vice versa. It doesn't necessarily have to be a woman. Maybe in certain circumstances, it has to be a woman. Childbirth, right? Men cannot birth children. So those I would look at more as compromises and not as sacrifices. Something like relocation, for example, right? Where one partner finds that it's the other partner is thriving really well at a particular location, and they might need to relocate for it. But that doesn't mean that the ambitions are sacrificed. It's a very temporary adjustment, as opposed to giving up something forever, which would be a sacrifice. So I feel ambitions can coexist, given both the partners respect the other person's wants and desires, and their will in life. And I feel this is the best kind of partnership that there is. Even the terminology of sacrifice then becomes compromise. And when it's momentary or logistical, it makes more sense. But when it's something more permanent and more pushed from the outside through any kind of pressure, I feel that then becomes a sacrifice. So yeah, I mean, I don't think this was a very simple, straightforward answer, even from my side. But yeah, that this is what I feel. Thank you.
It's difficult to explain that because sometimes not all problems need solving. We don't need somebody in knight, and we don't need a knight in shining armor coming and rescuing us. I don't think women really need somebody to rescue them. They can solve their own problems. They might if they want solving, they will discuss with you and discuss their solutions. But women have more problem solving ability than men. That's what I feel, because they're juggling a lot of things. They're juggling kids, family, friends, job, household, house helps, a lot of things. So problem solving is not really their weak point. They can solve their problems on their own. But yes, sometimes they need somebody to listen to it and not be judgmental about it, and not mansplaining things to us, or trying to show that यो इतनी छोटी सी प्रॉब्लम का आपके पास सोल्यूशन नहीं था, लो मैं सॉल्व कर देता हूँ. नहीं चाहिए. आप सुन लीजिए. That should be enough, and that should be good. And I think that's what people need. That's about it. I think
Honestly, I feel putting this as a clause in some way is very, I'm like, it's not right, because you might have somebody just keep priority in terms of healthy lifestyle would be just eating healthy or going early to bed, early to rise. Like, if you are somebody who's a party person and you have a partner who's like, nay, but then my priority is that I want to go to bed early, like, will you stop partying? You will not try to come up in a आप एक सेंटर पे आने की कोशिश करोगे एंड यूल बी लाइक चलो ठीक है काम करते हैं मैं चला जाता हूँ एंड यू कैन गो एंड स्लीप. सो यू ट्राई टू बैलेंस थिंग्स आउट. सो इट कुड बी डिफरेंट थिंग्स वेयर योर प्रायोरिटी माइट बी वर्किंग आउट एंड जिमिंग, बट आपकी पार्टनर की प्रायोरिटी माइट बी समथिंग एल्स. This could work out in different ways, but definitely not imposing your priorities. Definitely does not start by imposing your priorities on your partner कि just because ये मेरी priority है तुम भी ये ही prioritize करोगे कि नहीं. नहीं, ये मेरी priority है. You are open to living it and exploring it and maybe adapting it. But if not, if you have some other priorities, we'll work things out and we'll find midway. But either or, this is my priority, and I would really appreciate if you respect that and you support me with that. Would definitely be my way to go with this.